Hi, Kathy here from Kathy's Cute Creations. I just now realized when I was getting all my stuff out that I forgot to show the picture that I based the tree on. So first I'm going to show you that. This is a horrible looking tree. Turn that way. That's what I was basing it on. Did you guys guess what the block was going to be this week? I'm pretty sure if some of you were paying attention to it, you guessed it. It's a pumpkin. So here we go. That's what we're going to be doing. And of course, if you've got your 2.5-inch strips and you want to use it, then by all means, go ahead. All right, let me take care of somebody. Here are my color choices. I know I got a green in the pumpkin, but I got to have a little green in the pumpkin. I feel like I didn't put enough green in anything else. So anyway, you have to have 4 different colors, and these are 2.5 by 9.5-inch strips. The brown one is a 2.5 by 2. This here is 2.5 by 12.5. You got to have 2 of these. For this here, you're going to need 4, which are 2.5 by 2.5. This here is 8 of them, and they're 2.5 by 2. And then, last but not least, you're going to need 2 that are 2.5 by 5 3/4. Of course, you know this is if I copied my piece of paper right, because, oh my gosh, I'm hitting and missing here. But I think I got it all copied correct. So let's go ahead and start. We're going to build it by rows again, just like we did before. So it's going to be super duper easy. Should be super duper fast. Well, let's get over here to the sewing machine. Alrighty, today we're going to be building the stem first. Remember, your stem are the 2.5 by 5 3/4-inch fabrics. Just like all the others, we're going to put the right sides together. We're going to sew it. So let's do that first. I'm not going to put a pin. I have a 12-inch needle. I'm sewing with a 2.5-inch length, stitch length. And I wanted to say that I think that in the second video, I made a comment about snowball corners, I think, but I'm not even quite sure. I was thinking about the comment that if I had made that comment and somebody's new and has never done that, they were probably wondering what that was. So then I thought, well, let's just go ahead and do it on this quilt. There's no half square triangles on this quilt. It's all really, really easy. Now the last one, always easy. All right, take it over there, and you want these 2 ends here towards each other. Alrighty, so now we're going to decide in what order these go. And the reason for it is that the top strip and the bottom strip are going to be the snowballed strips. So this is where we have to figure it out. Let's see. I kind of like it when this is at the bottom. Maybe not, because it's got this little bit of yellow and all right, I don't want to buy the orange. Let's see. And I don't know if I should go in order here. Let's see. I should do it this way. Let's do it that way. Or not. Should we do it that way? All right, let's do it this way. Make him a little yellow here at the bottom, like he's not quite done. All right, so here's where you're going to take your your 4.5-inch. Now you're going to take on the back, and you're going to mark it. Then we're going to lay it on the corner of this one. This one. I'm going to put this aside because I need to mark these. And if you got to take a picture with your camera, by all means, take a picture with your camera. Where's my pen here? Oh my goodness. Here's my ruler right here. I thought it was out. Alrighty. Do it corner to corner. And if if you're really good at this and you don't need to put a line, then you don't need to put a line. I can't seem to eyeball that sometimes, and I don't have a mark on my sewing machine table that shows me a line. Whoops, it's not staying down enough here. Gotta put a little pressure on that. There you go. Alrighty. I'll do this one first. Now you want, let me show you here. Okay, so you want your line going the top of the fabric to the bottom, towards the right. So that when we get done sewing here, we're going to cut the excess off here, and we're going to flip it up like that. That's what we're looking for. So therefore, if this one goes from the left to the right, this one must go from the right to the left. Now don't accidentally get it this way, because if you do it from the right to the left, it's going to be wrong when you do it. Now let's just sew them, and we'll go ahead and sew them both. So that's good. We can change stitching. Rule of thumb is you do not want to start at this end where a point is if you have the plate on your machine that's for your zigzag, because it will go down in there and eat it up. We're going to go ahead and we're going to sew it from this end. Now, if you need to put yourself a pin in there just to keep it from wobbling and moving, you can do that. If you need to use a leader ender, you can do that also. I'm going to start off here to the edge so that it will not take my fabric. Do the best you can coming down that line. Do the next one. Make sure that your right sides are together. Put your fabric, like I have to really put my fabric underneath the light with this to catch these bubbles. Otherwise, I can't tell the right side from the wrong side. Hopefully I lost my end down there. Turn it around. I'm not even going to take them apart and just leave them together. They're not going to be in the way of each other. So when you cut them, before you cut them, take it, flip it up, make sure you know which side you're cutting. You're cutting this side over here. Lay your ruler down. That's all there is to it. And if you've cut off the top right, you're cutting off the top left. You just repeat the process. If you want to mark it and you want to cut it with scissors because that's what you've been doing all along and that's what you feel comfortable with, then go ahead and do it your way. And if you see me do something and you think it would be easier to do it a different way, by all means, make a comment. All right. So there we go. And here we go. Okay, so the green one, I believe, and this one, if I haven't already messed it up. All right. Or was the yellow on the bottom? I think the yellow was on the bottom. Look how quick I got that turned around. Whew, lordy, lordy. Okay, that's the way it goes. Now, take this over and iron it, because now's when we're going to be putting our 2 by 2.5 inch little squares on all the corners. So let me go ahead and iron these open first. I'm looking at my strips. And I'm looking at the 2 long strips, and so I look back at my directions, and my directions said cut out 1, yeah, I can't even read, 2.5 by 12.5 for the bottom. So I just have an extra one, but that's fine. Just set it aside, because I was trying to look at this to put it together. So take your little ends here, and we're going to put them on the sides. Let's move it over here so y'all can see it, because I seem to be out of camera all the time. There we go. That takes care of those. So we're going to sew these onto here, and we'll just do it. We'll chain stitch it actually. I'm going to gather these, and we're going to chain stitch all of these right here, just like that. Now is when you want to make sure that your top, your first piece, and then your last piece, that these things are in opposite directions, because that is going to be important when you're putting these ends on. I kind of like the way I did this pumpkin here. Okay, so let's not take them apart. If you've got a table, it's going to be easy, but if you don't have a table, you can take them apart. So now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach them again, and we'll chain stitch them while they're still connected. And if you can't do this and you need to flip this very first one apart because of the bulk that's down here at the bottom, just go ahead and do it. I'm going to see if I can avoid pinning it. Well, we will see, because I don't know. Okay, let's see what we can do here. My hands, I don't know about y'all, but my hands are so dry because of this weather. I have already got cracks on both of my thumbs. We were talking about that out at work on Friday. And what to use. And you know that bag balm that they've got out? Well, they used to have it, I'm just trying to look for mine, in a little green can. And you could buy the little bitty one, which is what I bought because I normally carry it in my purse. And then you could buy the bigger one. Well, if I could ever find the darn thing, I don't know what I've done with it. But the one that I bought from a long time ago, when I say a long time ago, oh my gosh, we're talking years. Well, it still works. But the thing is, I looked at the ingredients in it because I compared it to the ones that are today's in the little green can. Well, it's probably a plastic can now. It's been a minute. Well, the one that I bought way back when actually has medication in it. I couldn't understand why the new one doesn't heal your cuts the way the old one did. So that's what I discovered. So now we can go ahead and cut all of these apart. And then we're going to iron them. Okay, so then I'm looking at them as I pulled them off like this. And I'm unhappy with this one here because there's fabric sticking out. So I flipped it over, and sure enough, I didn't catch it correctly. So I'm going to take this one out and resew it. Resewing the very first strip because I cut it wrong. I laid them all down out here, and I'm wondering why this one is longer than all the rest. I looked at my directions. Yep, the directions are right. I look at the block and I'm thinking, it looks like it's too wide. Sure enough, took the measurement, and instead of it being a 2.5 by 2, I did a 2.5 by 2.5 inch. I have no clue why. Let me get this ironed. Now that it's finished, it all fits. So there it's laid out. We're just going to pin it. We're going to pin the first 2 rows, and then the next 2 rows, and the last 2 rows, just like we did in the previous blocks. So I'm starting on each corner. I put one at the other end. I'll just line up the corner and put it right here where the the seam is on the other side here, and fold it over just like this. Then I'll go here to the middle. Let me see if I can straddle this camera here a little bit. Make it easier. There we go. Although I can't look at the camera because it's too close to my face. I don't need reading glasses, so I can't see that close. Oh, and here's another one down here in the fold. So we see if we got them all. We need to get this one here. This one here. That one needs to be done. There we go. Now the whole thing is pinned. That's the first 2 rows. Now the next ones do match. So you're going to want to nestle these. So hopefully you've ironed one direction and one the other. Nestle them up. And since I'm sewing from the left to the right, here's where I put my pin, up here. Right there. I'll go down here to the other end. And you can look at them at the top like this to see if they come up against each other, just like that, before you put your pin in there if your if your seams haven't been matching in the past. I'm trying to keep it in the camera. All right, then just go right back to the middle, and then I'll just put a few pins. There's about the middle right there. And then off to the right I'll put one, because on these longer pieces, this is where you got to worry about it all stretching. And I'll go back over here to the left and catch about midway between here. Okay, so that one's pinned. And then if you don't want to pin one on the corner because you want it to feed and you don't want to take your pin out, whoops, I got 2 pins by mistake. Then just take the top up here, put your pin into there, and then you're going to sew right down here. When you come over here, you can grab your last pin out of there and move it down to here when you need it. So that's the second row. We're going to do, now the third one, or the third set, I should say. I had to open this up and lay it flat because otherwise I needed to move it towards the left, and then it would have put all this bulk here in this corner, because the next piece that matches, it doesn't make any difference on this last piece, but it did make a difference when it comes to connecting the other one to this. And it looks like, based on this, that right-hand side is a little too long, so I'm going to cut that off, and I will show you how I do that. I must have just got my measurement wrong when I... All right, so here's what you do. In a situation like that. Okay. I take my ruler. Always get a ruler bigger than you need. Never go for a small ruler. That's how accidents happen. And then you're going to lay your ruler down so that you have the right-hand side of this fabric that's closest to you covered, because you want to make sure that the size stays the same. And what I'm doing is I'm actually lining up my little dash lines along the edge of this fabric to get this straight on this side. Otherwise you'd be at an angle. So this up here lines up with a line, and this here lines up with a line. So it's just this little piece right here that needs to come off. Right there. Okay? This is what you do. That's it. I only noticed that just now. I didn't even notice that when I finished it up. So just go ahead and finish pinning this. This piece ought to be easy to pin. Now, like I made the comment, you know, if something ends up being a little bit too big, just trim it down. It's okay. And then we'll just go out into the middle. We're going to catch the corner here. So I'm going to catch this one to make sure that it stays down. I mean, I don't think that would go up with my sewing machine. But I'm going to... Let's take this out of the way. I'm going to do it right down here, because it's... There we go. And I can poke this mat. It won't make a difference. There we go, as I poke myself. And then we're going to go for the middle. And we're going to go ahead and do this up top again. There we go. Okay, so now we will chain stitch all of these. I'll get you all started because you do know how to do all of this. They're the same way as the last one. Here they are. I don't have them ironed. So let me go ahead and pin them together. And then we'll sew them. I went ahead and pinned them both. And pinned them the same way that I just did the others. You know, went by the seam. Nestled all my pieces and everything. Nothing was different about connecting these. Now let's take it over there and let's iron it open. There we go, block 4. I hope you liked this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe, and I will see you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.